Thank you. Good evening in Riyadh. Good morning in Mexico City. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this virtual conference, which is truly significant for the Embassy of Mexico in Saudi Arabia for several reasons. It is an event with no precedents in the lifetime of relations between Mexico and Saudi Arabia. This is the first time that a higher academic institution in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia joins the Embassy of Mexico to present a conference. The academic institution I am referring is the largest women academic university in the world. And on the Mexican side, we have invited to take part of this conference a renowned specialist on museum development. All of our speakers for this conference are women. And this is relevant because both Mexico and Saudi Arabia are strong promoters of the gender equality agenda. Having said that, I would like to thank you for joining us today. The Embassy of Mexico in Saudi Arabia is proud to present the last of the events that are part of our Digital Cultural Program 2020, especially the sign on the occasion of the 210th anniversary of the independence of Mexico. We couldn't end with this program in a better way than with this conference in collaboration with Princess Noura University around a crucial topic for cooperation and mutual understanding between cultures and societies, innovation and development in the field of museums and transfer knowledge. As you are aware, the pandemic has led us to innovative ways of interacting, and for this reason, we are using this virtual platform. Now, let me give the warmest welcome to our panel of speakers, simultaneously connected from Mexico and here in Saudi Arabia. First, Dr. Silvia Singer, Director General, Founder, and Creator of the design model of the Interactive Museum of Economics in Mexico. Mrs. Claudia Contla, Director of Visual Arts of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Mexico. Dr. Haifa Al-Humaydan, Assistant Professor, College of Arts and Design, Graphics Department at Princess Noura University. Mrs. Maha bin Said Matram, Virtual Arts graduate from College of Arts and Design of Princess Noura University. And Mrs. Hadil bin Fahad Mashil, Electronic Content Unit from Electronic Content Unit at Princess Noura University. Before to continue, I'd like to apologize since I have an engagement to attend within the next hour and I need to leave, but the Deputy Head of Mission, Mr. Luis Felipe Torres, and the team of the Embassy are going to stay here with you. I hope that very soon we have the opportunity to greet in person again and continue carrying out activities like this in other spaces and in person. Without further details, I leave the floor now to my colleague, the Deputy Head of Mission, Luis Felipe Torres, who will present our first speaker. And please, Luis Felipe, are you ready over there?
Hello, everyone. Well, first of all, I would like to hand over the floor to Ms. Claudia Contla, that she will present Dr. Singer. So, Claudia, the floor is yours. Sorry, Claudia, the floor is.
Hi, everyone. I'm very honored of being here today. As Ambassador Gomez Toledo said, and I'm the Director of Visual Arts for the Office of Cultural Diplomacy within the Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Earlier this year, I had the pleasure of visiting Princess Noura University, and I was truly blown away by the campus, the beautiful library, and especially the projects that are being developed in the Arts and Design Business School. So I'm really happy to be here talking to you today. And I'd really like to thank Ambassador Gomez Toledo for making this conference happen. As a representative of the Mexican Cultural Diplomacy Office, I want to put forward really quickly some ideas that I think relate to why we are here today. From the cultural diplomacy point of view, when we talk about culture, we see it not as a fixed set of attributes or traditions necessarily, but rather as a living dynamic thing. We don't imagine it as a pristine static depiction of a place and its people, but we see culture more as ways of knowing and doing. Culture is our everyday life, how we cook, what we listen to, how we dress, also how we define aesthetic values. From our point of view, when we promote Mexico around the world, what we want to focus is on that idea of culture. And our strategy has been to facilitate and create spaces where ideas can be shared, where links can be made, where networks can flourish, and knowledge can be exchanged. In doing so, we think that we've given Mexico a key role in a global conversation. So we're not presenting Mexican culture as a brand, but we'd rather think that we are discussing from our Mexican perspective, our relationships with the environment, our stance on discrimination, how we experience a worldwide crisis that we're living today, and what matter affects us all. So in the same way that Cultural Diplomacy Office is taking an innovative approach to cultural promotion, the Interactive Museum of Economics in Mexico City has taken a super innovative approach to design interactivity and visitor experience. The museum has shown that subjects like economics and finance are best understood through a human behavior lens, and not as abstract academic concepts. Everyday life is what guides the museum's storytelling, what creates a connection with the visitors, what promotes interaction, and sparks interest for its audience on and off site. From my perspective as a cultural practitioner and also as an exhibition designer, I want to recognize and highlight the way that Interactive Museum of Economics functions almost like a cultural diplomat. The museum uses innovative ways to connect with a wide range of people from different backgrounds, bringing them together to collaborate on activities, encounter new ideas, and engage in dialogue. So because of that, it's really my pleasure to be able to have Dr. Silvia Singer here to listen to her talk about the project. It is always very enriching to hear it directly from her words. Silvia is a biologist, but she's also recognized around the world as a leader in experience design. I would say that she has developed her own methodology, and she's at the forefront of using digital tools for interaction. And most importantly, for creating dialogue. She's energetic, creative, and relentless for all her projects, whether they be in Singapore, Puerto Rico, in the small town in Mexico, or various cities in Europe. So I leave the floor here. Thank you very much for having me. I hope you enjoy what Silvia has to share with us.
Thank you very much, Claudia, for your participation in this event. And I take this opportunity to reiterate the willingness of this embassy's team continue exploring opportunities to strengthen the cultural presence of Mexico and Saudi Arabia and countries that are part of our concurrence. And let me now introduce our distinguished speaker, Dr. Silvia Singer, to whom I thank again for her collaboration in this activity. Let me start. Dr. Singer is currently General Director, Founder, and creator of the design model of the Interactive Museum of Economics in Mexico, and President of the World Summit of Museums and Science Centers 2020. She directed the Science Museums of the National University of Mexico, Universum, and the Light Museum de la Luz. She participated in the design and creation of exhibitions and museums for their conceptualization to their opening, such as the renowned Museum Kite, Children's Museum, Papalote, Museo del Niño en Español, in Mexico City, and the Spirit of Life in Puerto Rico. She is Director General of the Interactive Museum of Economics in Mexico, and based on its model, at least 4 museums have been created and opened in France, Canada, Austria, and the United States of America. Currently, she serves an expert advisor for the Museum of Environmental Sciences in Jalisco, Mexico. With further introduction, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Singer, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody from Riyadh. It's a real pleasure to be here, and a real honor to be able to address a few words about our experience creating one very interesting model of museum in Mexico City, and collaborating with many other museums around our country and in other countries. But I want to start by first thanking the team of the International Cooperation from the Princess Nora University. Thank you so much for having me today and enable the possibility of me sharing my experience with all of you. Obviously, I want to thank very, very much the Foreign Affairs Ministry in my country, very especially Ambassador His Excellency Aníbal Gómez Toledo, and definitely Claudia Contla, the Director of Visual Arts from the same Minister of Foreign Affairs, because they are really taking a different look into the kind of relationships we can build up with our colleagues around the world, in this case, an academic one. Let me share my screen to start my presentation, which I think is the most important thing this morning. So, hoping everything is okay here with you, and if not, if somebody helps me telling me something is wrong, everything is okay. Well, the Interactive Museum of Economics in Mexico City was the first museum about economics that was designed and built all over the world. And I want to tell a little of this story. But before I start, and honoring the title of our presentation today, Mexico as a reference of museum development, I want to set the MIDE, which is the acronym, the short name for Interactive Museum of Economics in Spanish. I want to set the scenario where we live. What are museums in Mexico? What kind of museums do we have in Mexico? How do people visit museums in my country? Well, Mexico is a city of many, many museums. Officially, the last number reported by the commission who does this kind of research, they mentioned that we have 1,177 museums, but we know that this number comes just for those from those museums that responded to their call to submit their data. So we have an idea that there must be approximately 20% more museums in Mexico. These 1,177 museums are visited every year by 62 million people. And we live in a country of 120, 130 Mexicans. So it is a significant number. But you will see a little later on that is not a cheerful one. And you will discover along with me why. There are many kinds of museums in Mexico, but most of the museums are devoted to history, archaeology, art, science, technology, and environment. In fact, history, archaeology, and art. You can see those numbers represent the number of museums in each discipline. Out of 1,000, you see they are really the majority. I included the science, technology, and environment number because there's where MIDE is classified. So we are one of those 93 museums. This is how the museum scenario looks like. we have a very vibrant museum field in our country. Mexico has been known for its museum design for many years. The images at your left-hand side are the images from the Anthropology Museum in Mexico that was inaugurated in 1964 and has kept the same aesthetics and the same, almost the same design that it had in 1964. At that time, it was a real icon of museum design around the world. We are very proud of it. And this is why people like myself, who started as a biologist and ended being a museum professional now for more than 35 years, this is why we fall in love with museums as a way of communicating what humans do, human culture. So I'm showing right now museums that are located in the Chapultepec Park, which is, let's say, the green area downtown, and not that downtown, sorry, in Mexico City. That's why I put some trees in the center. So I will remember to tell you, this is the area of maximum, one of the two areas of maximum concentration of museums in the city. These museums here are located outside the Chapultepec area. These are located in the south of the city. You have the University Museum, which is the one in the bottom, the Contemporary Art Museum. On your left-hand side up, it's a very popular museum amongst foreigners, the Frida Kahlo Museum, one of our most renowned artists, and a woman of exceptional trajectory. And then the Sumaya Museum. You will see here what is the state-of-the-art museums outside the city: Puebla, Monterrey, and Yucatan. All of them planned in a very contemporary fashion, trying to show culture, the Baroque arts in Mexico, the contemporary art in Monterrey, and Yucatan, its own history. And then the interactivity. We have the Children's Museum, in which I participated in its creation in 1989, was the opening on your left side. And at the center, my first design, this interactive tree that you could climb at more than 70 meters, 17, not 70, 17 meters high. And I show it because when we designed this tree to be climbed and observed as a metaphor to explore the tropical rainforest, we were already innovating in 1989 with a very different idea of how a museum can communicate things that will resound with people, that will really go into their minds and spirit. And it was, at that time, the challenge was that everything that was interactive had a button to touch. There were no screens almost. We just had a few screens in this museum at that time because that technology was not so accessible. Even though my challenge was, how do I design interactivity with no buttons? I don't want buttons. I don't want things to be opened or closed. I want to do something that is sensory. Being a biologist and entering the field of design in museums in those years, my idea was, why don't I reproduce something that really marked my life? As a ecology researcher, which I was before entering the museum field, I had the opportunity to do some research in the tropical rainforest in Mexico. And one of the most exciting things I did was climb a tree. And the kind of things I saw when I climbed this tree, and the fact that I could observe the tropical rainforest in all its grandeur as I went up, inspired me to design this tree. I am very proud to tell you that today, 2020, almost 25 years later, this is an exhibit that is one of the 5 most cherished exhibits in the museum. The museum was renovated lately and they kept the tree, which I feel very good. But we also have museums in historic